Right now, the most critical waterway on Earth has been shut down. The Strait of Hormuz, just 33 kilometers wide between Iran and Oman, carries roughly 20% of all seaborne crude oil, about 17 million barrels a day. Energy analysts call it the jugular of the global economy. For 4 days, that jugular has been severed. Iran's Revolutionary Guards declared total blockade and warned they would burn every ship attempting passage. Senior advisor Ebrahim Jabari told Russia's TASS that no vessel would be spared. This was no bluff. 5 oil tankers have been hit by drones and missiles, killing 1 crew member and injuring 4. Oman's Maritime Safety Center confirmed the Palau-flagged tanker Skylight was struck near Qasab port. Hundreds of commercial vessels sit anchored off Oman, and the UAE unable to move. Qatar shut down LNG production at Ras Laffan. Saudi refineries halted operations. Brent crude hit $82.60 a barrel on March 4th, up over 22% in a single month. Here is exactly what is unfolding, broken down by the numbers. Why does the Strait of Hormuz matter so much? This narrow waterway is the sole sea route for crude oil and LNG exports from Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Iraq. Under UN law, the narrowest point falls within Iranian and Omani territorial waters, making it legally sensitive. Since the IRGC declared its blockade on February 28th, vessel traffic through the strait has plunged by 86%. The Guardian says Iran has largely shut oil and gas exports through the strait, with at least 4 tankers struck and traffic down about 80%. On March 2nd, a senior IRGC official formally reconfirmed the closure. By Tuesday Investing, Com reported the number of hit tankers had risen to 5. U.S. Central Command pushed back, insisting the strait is not formally closed. But Seatrade Maritime says for most vessels and owners, the waterway is effectively shut. Reuters reports that over 706 vessels have abandoned transit and are anchored across the Gulf. The world's 2 largest container shipping lines, Maersk and Hapag-Lloyd, have suspended all routes through Hormuz. The blockade's impact showed up instantly in the numbers. Brent crude, the international benchmark, reached $82.60 per barrel on March 4th. That is up 1.47% from the prior day and 22.28% from a month ago. West Texas Intermediate also climbed to $74.84 per barrel, up more than 18% in a month. The average U.S. gasoline price crossed $3 per gallon for the first time since last November. USA Today reported an 11-cent overnight spike, the biggest daily jump since 2022. Analysts warn gasoline could hit $4.50 to $6 per gallon if the blockade persists, but the most dramatic spike came in the tanker freight market. VLCC supertanker charter rates on the Middle East to China route hit a record $424,000 per day. Bloomberg and the Baltic Exchange say that figure represents roughly a 600% jump from pre-war levels. Tradewinds cited Clarkson's data, showing a world-scale index of 400 for the same route. Reuters reports that LNG carrier rates also surged more than 40%. The cost of moving energy has exploded, making final consumer price increases hard to estimate. Oil prices are not the only casualty. The most shocking development outside the energy market has been the collapse of maritime insurance. The Guardian says major insurers have canceled war risk, cover for Gulf and Hormuz vessels. The measure applies to Iranian waters, the entire Gulf, and adjacent seas, taking effect on March 5th. Al Jazeera says the existing premium was 0.25% of hull value. Re-enrollment rates could hit 0.5 to 1%, a 100 to 300% increase. For a $100 million tanker, that means annual war risk costs leaping from $250,000 to $1 million. No ship owner in the world operates uninsured. The result is that owners are abandoning Hormuz and opting for the alternative route around Africa's Cape of Good Hope. That adds 2+ weeks and sharply increases fuel and crew costs. The Financial Times estimates that the insurance surge alone adds $2 to $3 per barrel in costs passed on to end consumers. This is not a simple oil price spike. The entire global energy supply chain, from insurance to freight to routing, is being distorted. So how high can oil prices actually go from here? Start with the supply side response. OPEC Plus agreed to add 206,000 barrels per day from April, after emergency talks on March 1st. CNBC says options from 137,000 to 548,000 BPD were debated, but the smallest one. The problem is that this hike is effectively meaningless. Iran exported about 1.9 million barrels a day before the war, and all of it is gone. On top of that, the Hormuz blockade has also trapped exports from Kuwait, Iraq, Qatar, and the UAE. A 206,000-barrel hike against those losses is a cup of water in an empty pool. JPMorgan warns that Brent could spike to $100 to $120 per barrel if the blockade persists for 3 to 4 weeks. Goldman Sachs projects $110 in a scenario where straight flows are halved. ING and Deutsche Bank go further, seeing $150 to $200 per barrel in the worst case. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, Brent reached $130. There is also the question of the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Stocks sit at about 394 million barrels, near record lows with no release planned. How does the 2026 crisis compare to the 2022 Russia-Ukraine shock? When Russia invaded Ukraine, Brent crude hit $130 per barrel, and U.S. gasoline exceeded $5 per gallon for the first time in history. With Brent currently at $82, the situation might appear only half as severe. But there is a crucial difference. In 2022, Russian crude continued to flow via shadow tanker fleets to buyers in India and China, despite Western sanctions. A Hormuz blockade physically seals the waterway itself, leaving virtually no maritime workaround. Even with Saudi and UAE pipelines maxed out, 2/3 of Gulf exports would remain trapped. The natural gas picture is even bleaker. The WSJ says European gas prices surged about 70% after the strikes on Iran. The BBC says UK prices doubled. Euronews says European energy markets, stable since 2022, have re-entered crisis. In 2022, Europe replaced Russian pipeline gas with Qatari LNG. Now that backup supply is gone. Markets are already pricing in a crisis worse than 2022. Here is the bottom line. The Strait of Hormuz has been effectively blocked for 4 days. 5 tankers struck, 1 crew member killed. Vessel traffic through the strait has dropped 86%, with more than 700 ships stranded across the Gulf. Brent crude stands at $82.60 per barrel, up over 22% in a single month. VLCC supertanker charter rates have hit an all-time record of $424,000 per day. Insurers canceled Gulf War risk cover, with premiums up 300%. JPMorgan warns Brent could reach $120. If the blockade holds for 3 to 4 weeks, Goldman Sachs projects $110 if straight flows are halved. ING and Deutsche Bank see $150 to $200 in the worst case. U.S. gasoline has crossed $3 per gallon. European natural gas prices have surged 70%. OPEC's 206,000-barrel hike cannot offset Iran's 1.9 million-barrel loss. The U.S. SPR is near record lows with no release planned. Besant and Wright will soon unveil a response plan. Whether the Hormuz blockade is lifted or prolonged will determine the direction of the global economy. We will bring you daily updates on this channel.